After years of learning and perfecting my techniques, I could easily sell this course for at least $100. But I'd rather share it with you for free. In this complete baking course, you're going to learn how to create beautiful, professional quality cakes from scratch. You'll learn how to bake perfect cakes, prepare the most important creams used in the pastry world, and even the 3 creams that I personally recommend. You'll see exactly which ones they are inside the course. You'll also learn how to create different types of decorations, homemade jams, drip cakes, and plenty of tips and tricks. Throughout the course, I'll be sharing all my best tips, tricks, and secrets so you can avoid the mistakes I made and achieve amazing results much faster. And if you would like to support me, you'll find my PayPal link in the video description. My dream has always been to open my own bakery, and even now, at the age of 50, I'm still saving every penny to make that dream come true. Every single donation, no matter how small, whether it's a few cents, $1, or more, goes directly towards that goal. Thank you so much for your support. I will continue to share my knowledge and give all my content for free, unlike many others who sell their courses. Even if you can't donate, just leaving a like already helps me grow and reach more people. But if you're able to make even the smallest contribution, it would mean the world to me, just like I hope this course will mean a lot to you. Thank you so much, and now, let's get started with the course. The first thing I want to teach you is how to make the base for all your cakes, the sponge cakes. I also want to remind you that throughout this course, I'll be giving you all the measurements in both European and American units, so that everyone can follow along easily, no matter where you're from. Next, I'm going to show you how to bake multiple cakes at the same time. When you start receiving more orders, you'll need to be able to prepare several cakes at once. I personally have 3 professional stand mixers, but don't worry, you don't need that many to get started. Even if you only have 1 mixer, or even a small hand mixer, you can still follow along perfectly. I'll give you the exact quantities for each individual cake, so you can scale up as you grow. And as your business grows and you start selling more cakes, you'll be able to invest in more professional equipment, just like I did. With time, you'll be able to bake more cakes at once and take on even more orders. The exact measurement is 30 g, about 2.5 tablespoons, of sugar and 30 g, about 1/4 cup, of flour per egg. So if you want to make a smaller batch, just calculate 30 g of sugar and 30 g of flour for each egg you use. The first thing I do is add the eggs at room temperature. It's very important that they are not cold. Then we add the sugar. The total mixing time will be about 9 minutes. This recipe can also be made with a regular handheld mixer. You don't need a professional one. Just keep in mind that the mixing time will be around 11 minutes instead of 9. Remember, you can find all the ingredients listed in the video description. Once we're done mixing, we'll start gradually sifting the flour over the batter, little by little. It's important to do this slowly to avoid any lumps from forming, which can affect the texture of the cake. Take your time with this step, and be gentle when mixing it in. The key is to keep the batter light and airy for the best results. The reason the batter rises is because of the air incorporated during the mixing process and the behavior of the eggs. When we beat the eggs with sugar, we're trapping air in the mixture, and when the cake bakes, the heat causes the air bubbles to expand, making the batter rise. Even though we're not using baking powder in this recipe, the cake will still rise beautifully. Here are a few tips to help your cake rise perfectly. Use room temperature eggs. Cold eggs make it harder to incorporate air into the batter. If you forget to take them out in advance, place them in warm water for a few minutes. Don't overmix or undermix. The key is to beat the eggs and sugar long enough to incorporate air but not too much, or the structure could break down. If using a hand mixer, you may need a little more time, around 11 minutes. Sift your dry ingredients. Sifting flour helps remove clumps and ensures even distribution, allowing air to stay in the batter. Don't overfill your pan. The batter needs room to rise. Fill your pan up to about 2/3 of its height, leaving space for the cake to grow. Preheat the oven properly. A well preheated oven is crucial. If the oven is too cold, the cake won't rise. If it's too hot, the outer layer may cook too quickly and prevent the cake from growing evenly. Don't open the oven early. For the first 20 minutes, avoid opening the oven. The cold air can cause the cake to sink. By following these simple tips, you'll ensure that your cake rises perfectly every time. Once you've sifted the flour, transfer the batter into the mold you've chosen. Always line the mold with parchment paper and grease it lightly with some butter or a non-stick spray to prevent the cake from sticking. And remember, don't fill the mold all the way to the top because the cake will rise. Even though we're not using baking powder, because this recipe doesn't require it, the cake will still rise beautifully. It's very important to remove any large air bubbles before baking. To do this, once you've poured the batter into the pan, hold the pan in your hands and gently tap it on the counter a couple of times. This will help break up any large air bubbles that might have formed during mixing. The gentle tapping helps the batter settle evenly in the pan, giving you a smooth, even texture in your final cake. Bake the cakes for approximately 40 to 50 minutes. But the most important thing is to check that they are fully cooked by inserting a toothpick into the center. If it comes out clean, your cake is ready. If you see that it comes out with some batter on it, leave the cake in the oven for a few more minutes, keeping an eye on it to avoid burning. Preheat your oven to 320 degrees Fahrenheit 160 degrees Celsius before placing the cakes inside. I use a convection oven, which allows me to bake up to 5 cakes at once without affecting the quality. However, if you don't have a convection oven, you can still achieve great results with a regular oven. In this case, make sure to place your cakes in the middle of the oven and, if they don't all fit at once, bake in batches. If your oven doesn't heat evenly, it's a good idea to rotate the cakes halfway through the baking time. If you notice one side baking faster than the other, turn the pans around for even heat distribution. Once the cakes are done, remove them from the oven and let them cool in the pan for about 10 to 15 minutes. This step is important because the cake is still hot and could fall apart if you try to remove it too soon. Afterward, transfer the cakes to a cooling rack to cool completely. Let the cakes rest like this until the next day. This will allow the texture to change, making them easier to slice. Once cooled, cut each cake into 2 to 3 centimeters, about 3/4 to 1 1/4 inch, thick layers. Once cooled, you can wrap them tightly in plastic wrap and you can store them in the fridge for up to 3 to 4 days. If you want to store the cakes for a longer period, you can freeze them. Simply wrap them tightly in plastic wrap and place them in a freezer-safe bag or container. Cakes can be frozen for up to 1 month. When you're ready to use them, just let them thaw at room temperature for a few hours, and they'll be ready to use for your fillings and decorations. This way, you can always have delicious cakes ready to go when needed, and you won't have to worry about them going bad too quickly. And here are the cakes I've created using these delicious sponge cakes. As you can see, they come out perfectly light and fluffy, which makes them the ideal base for any type of filling, decoration, or frosting you prefer. These cakes are incredibly versatile, and you can use them for a variety of cake styles, from simple layered cakes to more elaborate designs. They not only taste amazing but also hold their shape well, making them perfect for different occasions and events. Next, we're going to make a chocolate sponge cake. But this one has something special. This cake is made with rice flour, which makes it gluten-free. It also has a very light and fluffy texture that's incredibly delicious. I think knowing how to make a recipe for people with gluten intolerance is a great idea because nowadays, many people are gluten intolerant. The more recipes you can make, the better. You can also make the same cake I'm making here, but without the cocoa. Instead, you could make it vanilla flavored rather than chocolate. Let's begin by cracking 5 eggs into a bowl. It's important to make sure your eggs are at room temperature, as they'll blend better and help create a fluffier cake. Whisk the eggs for about 1 minute, just enough to get them nice and smooth. This step is crucial to start building that airiness in the batter. Now, add 140 g of brown sugar. This is about 3/4 cup. Brown sugar gives the cake a bit of a deeper flavor and moisture. Continue whisking everything together for 5 minutes. The goal here is to really incorporate air into the mixture. This will give your cake that soft, fluffy texture we're looking for, so don't rush it. Next, we'll add 120 g of rice flour, which is a fantastic gluten-free option. If you're making a gluten-free cake for someone with an intolerance, rice flour works really well because it's light and doesn't change the texture too much. Just be sure that you're using rice flour, not rice powder, as they are different. Gently fold it into the mixture to avoid deflating all the air we've built up. Then, add 50 g of pure cocoa powder, that's half a cup. Make sure it's unsweetened cocoa to keep the flavor balanced. Cocoa gives the cake its rich chocolate flavor, and it will help deepen the color as well. Once again, fold it in gently using a spatula, making sure everything is well integrated without losing that fluffiness. Preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius 320 degrees Fahrenheit. It's always a good idea to preheat your oven so it's fully heated when the cake goes in, ensuring it bakes evenly. While the oven is heating up, prepare your cake pan. You'll need one that's 18 by 18 centimeters, around 7 by 7 inches, and make sure it's at least 10 centimeters, 4 inches, high. Grease the pan lightly with butter or line it with parchment paper to prevent sticking. Once your pan is ready, pour the batter in slowly and evenly. Give the pan a gentle tap on the counter to release any air bubbles trapped in the batter. This will help prevent big air pockets from forming during baking, which can cause uneven texture. Now, place the pan in the oven and bake it at 160 degrees Celsius 320 degrees Fahrenheit for about 40 minutes. Don't open the oven door while the cake is baking, as this could cause it to sink. The cake needs to be stable and fully set before you open the oven. After 40 minutes, test the cake with a toothpick or cake tester in the center. If it comes out clean, it's done. Once the cake is done, remove it from the oven and let it cool in the pan for a few minutes. This is a key step. Cooling it slightly in the pan helps it set up before you move it. After a few minutes, turn it out onto a wire rack to cool completely. Let the cake rest for a bit before cutting. This step is crucial because it allows the texture to firm up, making it easier to slice into neat layers. Once it's completely cool, cut the cake into layers. You can fill them with your favorite frosting or keep it simple and enjoy the rich chocolate flavor as it is. If you prefer a taller cake, you can always double the ingredients and bake it in a slightly larger pan. This will give you more layers to work with, and the result will be just as delicious. Of course, no course would be complete without teaching you how to make great cupcakes. Knowing how to make delicious cupcakes is a valuable skill, as it allows you to offer your customers a set of cupcakes when they buy a cake. Many customers end up purchasing them, especially if the cupcakes match the theme of the cake. For example, you can sell a SpongeBob cake and offer 12 cupcakes related to SpongeBob or the same color as the cake. I can assure you that most customers will happily buy the cupcakes as well. Now, let me show you how to make Nutella-filled cupcakes topped with a delicious frosting. First, take 4 medium eggs, that's about 4 large eggs in the US. Beat them for about 2 minutes until they become nice and fluffy. Next, add 160 grams, about 3/4 cup, of sugar. Continue beating for another 6 minutes. This step is important, as beating the mixture for a longer time will make the cupcakes lighter and fluffier. If you don't have a stand mixer, don't worry. You can use a handheld mixer just as easily. The key is to beat the eggs and sugar well to get that airy texture. Now, add 80 milliliters, 1/3 cup, of oil and 80 milliliters, about 1/3 cup, of milk. Mix these ingredients into the batter until fully incorporated. Make sure you're mixing at low speed to keep the air in the batter. Next, add 250 grams, 2 cups, of sifted flour and 5 grams, 1 teaspoon, of baking powder. This combination will help give your cupcakes that perfect rise. Continue mixing on the lowest speed, just until everything is fully incorporated. Don't overmix, this will help your cupcakes stay light and airy. Now, prepare your cupcake liners. Fill each one about 3/4 of the way up with batter. This ensures your cupcakes will have room to rise nicely without spilling over the edges. Preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake the cupcakes for about 25 minutes. Keep an eye on them, and if you're unsure, you can check by inserting a toothpick. If it comes out clean, they're done. Once they're baked, let them cool completely before filling them with Nutella. I like to decorate my cupcakes with white chocolate using molds in the shape of hearts and small chocolates. But if you don't have molds or if you'd prefer a different approach, you can easily decorate the cupcakes by adding pieces of Kit Kat, Kinder Bueno, or any other toppings you love on top of the cream. The key is to get creative and make it personal. You can create a little well in the center of each cupcake to add the Nutella. If you don't have a cutter like I do, you can easily make the holes using a small spoon or a knife, but be very careful. Then, just fill the hole with Nutella. For the frosting, feel free to use any cream you like. Personally, I'll give you 3 delicious frosting options. Some are better for filling, while others are more suitable for decorating. In this case, I recommend a Swiss meringue buttercream because it's very stable and can hold up well, even in warmer temperatures. You can also try cream cheese frosting or many other options that you can find on my channel. Now, let's dive into one of my absolute favorite frostings, and the best part is, you only need 2 ingredients to make it. I've used this frosting in countless baked goods, and I can honestly say that nearly all of my clients absolutely adore it. Its origins date back to European cuisine, but over the years, this preparation has traveled the world, adapting to the traditions and flavors of different cultures. Today I want to share with you a simple and delicious variation. Buttercream with condensed milk. This buttercream is particularly easy to make, as it requires only 2 ingredients and follows an exact 1-to-1 ratio, 1 part butter and 1 part condensed milk. Besides its simplicity, this cream stands out for several reasons. It has a smooth and creamy texture, ideal for spreading, filling, and decorating. It has great stability, although it contains a high amount of butter, its texture is firmer than other more delicate creams. However, in very warm climates, it may lose consistency if not kept in a cool or refrigerated environment. It has a unique flavor. The condensed milk provides a balanced sweetness and a slightly caramelized touch that everyone loves. It is highly versatile. You can use it as is or personalize it with essences, gel food coloring, cocoa powder, chocolate, or even coffee to adapt it to your desserts. With just 2 ingredients and a few minutes, you'll have a professional cream ready without complications. I would love to know from which country you are watching me while I start preparing this delicious recipe. Ingredients: 500 g, 2 cups or 1 pound 1.6 ounces, of unsalted butter with 82% fat content. Remove the butter from the fridge and let it come to room temperature until it is soft but not melted. It should have a creamy texture, known as pomade consistency. Place the butter in a large bowl, start a timer to control the whipping time, and ensure everything turns out perfectly. Also, prepare 500 g, 14 ounces or about 1¼ cups, of sweetened condensed milk. Make sure it is at room temperature and that you are using baking condensed milk, not the one used to sweeten coffee, as the latter does not have the proper consistency. Use an electric mixer on high speed and beat for 15 minutes until the butter becomes white, fluffy, and increases in volume. Remember that this whipping is key to obtaining a light and perfect texture. Restart the timer and add the condensed milk in a thin stream while mixing at medium-high speed. Continue beating until you obtain a fine, stable, glossy, and delicious cream. Remember, you can find all the ingredients listed in the video description. Buttercream is very easy to customize. It can be colored with gel food coloring to create a vibrant palette or flavored with different extracts and essences. Here I show you how to tint this delicious buttercream in different colors using gel food coloring. Add the color little by little and mix until you reach the desired shade. Don't be afraid to add more if necessary, as this cream has excellent absorption without losing its texture. You can stir as much as you want, and I assure you it will not split. Buttercream, with its rich history and multiple applications, is an undisputed classic in global pastry making. With piping bags and different tips, you can take your dessert decorations to the next level. For example, using several tips of the same number, such as Wilton's 1M, you can create various designs like rosettes of different sizes, swirls, detailed flowers, or unique patterns to personalize your cupcakes and cakes. Also, the grass tip number 233 is perfect for simulating grass or similar textures, adding a creative and fun touch to your decorations. It is ideal for decorating a cake for a special occasion or simply enjoying a cupcake at home. Its versatility makes it a favorite among professionals and amateurs alike. Customize the flavors of your buttercream according to your taste. You can add strawberry extract for a sweet and natural touch, lemon zest and juice for a fresh and citrusy flavor, or instant coffee dissolved in hot water for a more sophisticated profile. The possibilities are endless. Look at the incredible texture of this cream. Thanks to prolonged whipping, we achieve a smooth, stable, and lump-free consistency. Buttercream is perfect as a base for fondant, as it creates a smooth surface and helps it adhere properly. It is also ideal as a frosting to smooth cakes or create unique decorative textures. For storage, buttercream can be kept in the fridge for up to a week. If left at room temperature, it will remain stable for several hours as long as it is not exposed to extreme heat or direct sunlight. In winter, take the butter out of the fridge the night before. In summer, 1 or 2 hours will be enough. If you don't plan to use it immediately, you can freeze it and thaw it in the fridge before use. Then, let it reach room temperature and whip it again to restore its creaminess. Buttercream is an essential classic in pastry making. It is ideal for decorating cakes for special occasions or enjoying it on homemade cupcakes. Its versatility makes it a perfect choice for enhancing any dessert, and it is easy to personalize with different flavors and colors to suit your preferences. If you are decorating in a warm place, follow these tips. Fill the piping bags and refrigerate them in 5-minute intervals before using them to maintain the cream's firmness, as the heat from your hands can soften it. Once your cake or dessert is decorated, Place it in the fridge so the cream hardens and sets firmly. Here I show you how to decorate using specific piping tips like the grass tip and how to smooth a cake easily with this 2-ingredient frosting. You can also frost your cakes 1 or 2 days in advance, as this cream does not crack or change its texture. If you liked this recipe, don't forget to support me by sharing my videos on your social media. On my channel, you will find a wide variety of recipes for filling, covering, and decorating all kinds of desserts. Try this delicious, versatile, and perfect buttercream for your creations. Next, I'm going to show you the frosting that you'll probably use the most, both for filling and for covering cakes. This versatile frosting is a real go-to in the kitchen. It's incredibly easy to make, and its texture and flavor make it perfect for a wide range of cake designs. Whether you're looking to create a smooth, elegant finish or want something a little more decorative, this frosting will be your best friend. It's a must-know for anyone who loves baking, and trust me, once you try it, you'll want to keep making it over and over again. Swiss meringue buttercream is beloved for its smooth texture, rich flavor, and ability to hold its shape. It's an excellent option for those seeking a frosting that's not overly sweet and is easy to work with for decoration. This versatile and delicious buttercream is used across a wide range of baked goods. You can use it to frost cakes by spreading it evenly over the cake surface or by creating textures and decorations with a spatula or piping tip. For cupcakes, it's a popular choice as well. You can pipe it decoratively on top for a beautiful presentation. It also works perfectly as a filling between cake layers, adding a soft, creamy texture that complements various types of sponge cakes. Swiss meringue buttercream can be colored and used to decorate themed sweets, such as birthday cakes, wedding cakes, or any special event dessert. Experiment with different flavors and colors to personalize your creations. Here's how to make it. Start by taking a heat-resistant bowl, which can be the bowl of your mixer. Dry it completely and wipe it with a paper towel dipped in vinegar to remove any grease marks from previous preparations. Weigh the egg whites and sugar. For this recipe, use 10.5 ounces, 300 grams, of egg whites, 21 ounces, 600 grams, of sugar, and 32 ounces, 900 grams, of unsalted butter at room temperature. But we will add the butter later. Mix the egg whites and sugar evenly. Place the bowl over a pot of simmering water, creating a double boiler. Stir the mixture constantly. This generous recipe will give you enough to fill and frost multiple cakes. Stir the mixture constantly until the sugar dissolves and the mixture reaches a temperature of about 140 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. I use a timer to ensure precision in each step, giving you the exact time needed for this quantity. This process usually takes around 4 to 5 minutes. You can also check by touching the mixture with your fingertips to make sure it's warm and that the sugar has completely dissolved. Remove the bowl from the double boiler. Whisk the egg whites at high speed until they cool down to room temperature. It's essential to lower the temperature before adding the butter, otherwise, the butter will melt, making the mixture soupy or curdled. Swiss meringue buttercream is a firmer cream with several advantages. Compared to other frostings, has a velvety, smooth texture that's pleasant on the palate and offers a creamy, rich experience. This cream is more stable at higher temperatures than other butter-based frostings, making it an excellent choice for warm climates or outdoor events, as it's less likely to melt. This recipe can easily be made with a hand mixer. You'll use the same beaters from start to finish. However, if you're using a stand mixer, switch from the whisk attachment to the paddle once the meringue is ready, then add the butter at a low speed. After 10 minutes of whipping, the meringue should be ready, with the temperature at 104 degrees Fahrenheit 40 degrees Celsius, ideal for starting to add the butter gradually. Add your preferred flavor. I like to use half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Begin incorporating the butter cube by cube on low speed. As you add the butter, the meringue may become liquidy or appear curdled at one point. Don't stop, keep going until all the butter cubes are added. You'll see the mixture transform quickly, becoming smooth and ready to use within seconds. This magical moment is when the cream achieves its transformation, becoming deliciously smooth and silky. This buttercream is ideal for summer use, as it can sit out of the fridge for several hours. Avoid direct sun exposure, and keep it in the shade or a cool place during your event. Swiss meringue buttercream is also frequently used as a filling for macarons, providing a delightful contrast with the crisp shells of these delicate pastries. You can also use it as a filling for cookies, creating cookie sandwiches with a generous layer of this frosting. Keep in mind that the entire process takes about 16 minutes of whipping, and it yields a considerable amount. Use this cream to fill, coat, and decorate cakes and cupcakes. It's easy to work with and perfect for decorating cakes and cupcakes. Use different piping tips to create various designs and decorations. Compared to sugar-based icings, this buttercream is less sweet, allowing you to enjoy the primary ingredients' flavors without overwhelming sweetness. You can store it in the fridge for several days without losing texture or flavor. With this recipe, you'll have 1.7 kilograms of Swiss buttercream, enough to fill and decorate multiple cakes. You can also divide it and mix it with fruit pastes, syrups, chocolate, Nutella, or dulce de leche for different flavors using a single base. I transfer the cream into several piping bags with Wilton tips #1M, number 353, and large #1E so you can see its firm texture. It's perfect and, taste-wise, absolutely delicious. This cream can be prepared in advance and stored in the fridge for up to 5 days or even frozen. Besides being a frosting, Swiss meringue is excellent for making detailed decorations on cakes. You can create flowers, leaves, and other decorative elements with this frosting. As you can see, it pipes beautifully. You can also use it to cover cakes and desserts, giving them an elegant appearance and a delicious flavor. This extra firm buttercream holds its shape well, which is ideal for more intricate, elaborate decorations. Choose Swiss meringue buttercream based on your personal taste and the specific needs of the cake or dessert you're preparing. Next, we're going to make a Belgian cream with white chocolate, smooth, shiny, and very versatile. Ideal for filling cakes, serving in small cups, pairing with fruits, or making irresistible cold desserts. A simple recipe with few ingredients and incredible results. At the end, I'll tell you how you can personalize it with different flavors, so don't miss it. In a thick-bottomed saucepan, place 500 grams, 2 cups, of sweetened condensed milk and 60 grams, half a cup, of cornstarch. Mix very well with a spatula or whisk until the cornstarch is completely dissolved. Add 250 grams, 1 cup, of heavy cream. Integrate everything by gently mixing, still off the heat. Add 350 milliliters, 1½ cups, of whole milk. Now, bring the mixture to medium-low heat and begin to cook, constantly stirring with a silicone spatula or whisk to avoid it sticking to the bottom or forming lumps. Tip: make sure to stir continuously as it cooks. If you stop stirring, the cream may burn at the bottom or form unpleasant clumps. When the mixture begins to boil, add 300 grams, 1½ cups, of white chocolate. I use compound chocolate. Keep stirring constantly and cook for about 2 more minutes, until the mixture thickens and acquires a smooth, creamy, and shiny texture. Turn off the heat and stir vigorously for a few seconds to make the cream smoother and more homogeneous. Pour the cream into a clean container and cover it with plastic wrap in direct contact with the surface, to avoid a hard layer from forming. Let it sit for a few minutes until it cools down a bit. Tip: if you want to avoid a film from forming on top, the plastic wrap should touch the surface of the cream as it cools. Place the cream in the fridge and let it cool for at least 12 hours before using it. This Belgian cream keeps perfectly in the fridge, well covered with plastic wrap in direct contact with the surface, or in an airtight container, for up to 5 days. You can also freeze it if you've used flour instead of cornstarch, and have it ready for future desserts. Tip: if you're planning to freeze the cream, ensure that it has cooled down completely before freezing. Also, always store it in an airtight container to preserve its smooth texture. Its texture is ultra creamy, smooth, and shiny, very similar to pastry cream, but without eggs. This makes it lighter, more stable when chilled, and perfect for those avoiding eggs due to personal preference or allergies. Plus, it has a delicate flavor that pairs well with anything: fruits, cakes, puff pastry, or even on its own, by the spoonful. It's an absolute delight. Tip: this cream is fantastic as a filling for cakes or as a base for cold desserts. You can also serve it in small cups for a simple and elegant dessert. This cream is perfect for filling cakes, combining with fruits, serving in small cups, or as a base for cold desserts. It's also amazing for filling profiteroles with cocoa crackling, like the ones I usually make, an absolute treat, finger-licking good. If you'd like, you can flavor it with vanilla extract, orange zest, or a splash of mild liqueur. And if you prefer to change the color or flavor, you can use milk chocolate, dark chocolate, strawberry chocolate, or even matcha. It's completely adaptable to your tastes. Tip: feel free to experiment with different types of chocolate or flavors. Adding liqueurs or zest will really elevate the flavor profile of the cream and make it unique to your preferences. Now I'm going to show you something simple, yet very important: how to make homemade jam. Not only will you save money, because homemade jam is much more affordable than a good store-bought one, but the flavor is simply unmatched. Nothing compares to the taste of homemade jam. For these cakes, it's especially worth it to prepare your own jam. It will make a huge difference in the final flavor, giving your desserts a truly special, authentic touch. Knowing how to make a good homemade jam is an essential skill, and once you try it, you'll never want to go back to store-bought versions. Imagine these delicious jams as a filling for cakes and pastries, or as a topping for ice cream, flan, and cheesecakes. The alternatives are endless. I start by preparing the homemade jams, creating 3 delicious, all-natural, and unique flavors. First, I work with red currants, a delightful harvest from my own garden. For this jam, I use 2 cups, about 250 g, 8.8 ounces, of red currants, 1 cup, 200 g, 7 ounces, of sugar, and half a cup, 120 milliliters, for fluid ounces, of water. The second flavor is black currant, also from my own harvest. In this recipe, I mix 2 cups, about 250 g, 8.8 ounces, of black currants with 1 cup, 200 g, 7 ounces, of sugar and half a cup, 120 milliliters, for fluid ounces, of water. Finally, I prepare a strawberry jam using a 300 g, about 10.5 ounces, bag of frozen strawberries, 1 cup, 200 g, 7 ounces, of sugar, and half a cup, 120 milliliters, for fluid ounces, of water. I place each mixture in separate saucepans and bring them to a boil over medium-high heat for 10 to 15 minutes. The aroma of the fruits while they boil is simply irresistible. Once the jams have boiled for 10 to 15 minutes, I remove them from the heat and blend them. This step is also completely optional. Then, I use a fine sieve to remove seeds and obtain an extra smooth texture. I do this step to ensure a fine and firm cream, ideal for decorating and filling desserts with flawless finishes. With these simple ingredients and a very easy process, I get jams with an authentic and natural flavor. They are the perfect complement to add a special touch to any dessert. These jams are extremely versatile. You can use them as a filling for cakes, as a base for zephyr or marshmallows, or even mix them with Swiss meringue to create delicious creams with a unique fruity touch. Something important to keep in mind is that the sugar is completely optional. You can reduce the amount or even omit it if you prefer a less sweet result, adapting it to your preferences. Finally, I transfer each jam to separate bowls and let them cool completely. This step is essential to ensure the jams are at the right temperature before mixing them with the meringue, as this helps maintain the perfect texture of the final result. Additionally, jams are ideal for spreading on toast, making sweet and sour sauces for meats like pork or duck, and even for preparing drinks like cocktails, tea, or sparkling water. The possibilities are endless. You can make jam with any type of fresh or frozen fruit. So don't hesitate to experiment with your favorite flavors. Now let's take it to the next level. We are going to make a cake together with a delicious chocolate and Nutella mousse filling, combined with vanilla and chocolate sponge cakes. It will also include chocolate ganache and an exquisite berry jam, creating an explosion of spectacular flavors. I assure you, it's pure temptation. Soft, creamy, and with an unbeatable taste. But that's not all. I will also show you how to decorate 2 incredible cakes in a simple and quick way. For that, we will use a perfect decorating cream made with only 2 ingredients, butter and condensed milk, achieving a soft and delicious texture. Additionally, I bring you 2 spectacular vintage designs. They are elegant cakes, eye-catching and full of retro charm, decorated with different piping tips, little flowers, bows, and colorful sprinkles, achieving a beautiful and charming finish. Stay with me, learn, and enjoy this step-by-step tutorial. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel and share my recipes. It is free and would help me a lot to reach more people. First step, hydrate 20 grams, 0.7 ounces, of unflavored gelatin in 250 milliliters, about 8.5 fluid ounces, of cold water and let it sit for a few minutes until it is fully absorbed. Stir lightly to mix well and set aside. Meanwhile, we prepare the heavy cream. I will use a total of 1 liter, about 34 fluid ounces. In a measuring jug, separate 250 milliliters, about 8.5 fluid ounces, of heavy cream. In the bowl of the stand mixer, place the remaining 750 milliliters, about 25.4 fluid ounces, of heavy cream along with 150 g, 5.3 ounces, of powdered sugar. This ingredient is optional. The 250 milliliters, about 8.5 fluid ounces, of cream that we set aside goes into a bowl. Add 250 g, 8.8 ounces, of dark chocolate, or any chocolate of your choice, and melt it in the microwave or in a double boiler until completely smooth. At this moment, start whipping the cream with the powdered sugar for 1 to 2 minutes. To the bowl with the melted chocolate, add 2 heaping tablespoons of warm Nutella. Now it's time to use the hydrated gelatin. Heat it in the microwave in short intervals until completely dissolved. Once hot, add it to the chocolate mixture and stir gently to incorporate it well. This is the ideal point of the whipped cream, soft but slightly aerated. Add all the chocolate and gelatin mixture to the cream and beat just a few seconds, only until integrated. And that's it. This is how you can easily make a delicious mousse in just a few minutes and 3 simple steps. You can use any kind of whipping cream. I use plant-based cream, but if you prefer a dairy-based cream, the result will be even richer. Remember, you can find all the ingredients listed in the video description. I have prepared 2 molds, one of 20 centimeters, about 8 inches, and another of 15 centimeters, about 6 inches, both lined with acetate sheets about 12 centimeters, about 5 inches, high. Place a sponge cake in each mold and moisten them with syrup. Then, add chocolate ganache to the larger cake and berry jam to the smaller mold, making sure to spread them evenly. Next, pour half of the mousse into the 2 molds, distributing it uniformly. In the smaller mold, place another sponge cake layer on top. In the larger mold, insert a chocolate sponge cake of 18 centimeters, about 7 inches, in diameter into the center of the mousse, pressing slightly to set it well. Moisten it generously with syrup and spread 2 tablespoons of chocolate ganache on top. Finally, cover with the rest of the chocolate mousse and add another sponge cake layer. To finish, spread a thin layer of ganache and berry jam over the last cake layer, then flip the sponge over as shown in the video. Cover each mold with plastic wrap and refrigerate overnight. Letting them rest allows the gelatin to set in the mousse to acquire the perfect texture. Now I am going to unmold the cakes to frost and decorate them. Look how firm they have turned out. I want to mention something important. When a cake is firm and has straight sides like this one, you have already done half of the work when it comes to frosting and decorating. It makes smoothing and covering much easier and faster. If you want to learn how to make the sponge cake and the cream to cover it, you can find the tutorials on my channel. I start by applying the first coat of cream, a thin crumb coat to seal in the crumbs. I smooth the surface well and chill the cake for 10 minutes. I highly recommend you try this cream. It is perfect for frosting and decorating. It is very stable and prevents your cake from cracking. Additionally, it stays beautiful and fresh in the fridge for several days without drying out or hardening excessively. Then, I apply the second layer of cream and smooth again. Fill piping bags with the cream dyed in different colors, using various piping tips. I will leave the tip numbers in the description box as well. If you enjoy my video, it would make me very happy if you subscribe to my channel and leave a comment. Decorate your cake in the way you like the most. This design is very versatile and looks amazing with any type of decoration. Here, I want to highlight the perfect and extra firm consistency of the cream. It is an ideal option for decorating because it remains stable and makes piping work much easier. Also, with this cream, your cake will not crack or dry out. You can see for yourself that a decorated cake stays in perfect condition in the fridge for several days. It is important, however, that it has a suitable filling and a firm, resistant sponge base for the best results. A very useful tip, since this cream has a butter base, in warm climates it may soften depending on the room temperature. If you are working in a very hot environment, I recommend refrigerating the piping bags for short intervals to maintain the right consistency. Another trick is to chill your cake briefly after every major decorating step to keep everything firm and clean. To make the cake look even prettier, I add some white pearls, little flowers, bows, and a small crown. The result is a divine, delicious cake with an elegant and sophisticated touch, perfect for any special occasion. Tell me in the comments, how do you decorate your cakes? What type of frosting do you usually use? Have you tried any of my recipes? I would love to hear from you. Now I unmold the second cake, which measures 15 centimeters, about 6 inches, in diameter and 12 centimeters, about 5 inches, in height. I will frost it with the same cream but in a different color. I begin by applying a thin crumb coat and chilling it for 10 minutes. Then, I add the second layer of cream and move directly to decorating without chilling again. This is how easily you can achieve 2 beautiful cakes in just a few simple steps. With the same mousse-based cream, I managed to decorate both cakes. If you only want to make one cake, just divide the ingredient amounts by half. Time to taste these cakes. They have been in the fridge for 2 days, uncovered, and as you can see, they have no cracks and look exactly as when I first decorated them. It is truly incredible. And finally, I'm going to show you how to make and decorate a delicious cake with a cream cheese frosting and a chocolate drip. This is honestly one of the best cakes you can make. In fact, among my clients, this has been one of the most requested cakes over the years. It's not only beautiful and delicious, but it's also incredibly easy to make, even if you're just starting out. The combination of the light cream cheese frosting and the rich chocolate drip makes it simply irresistible. I start by whipping 250 to 300 milliliters, about 8.5 to 10 fluid ounces, of Purato's ambient cream for 1 minute. Next, I add 120 g, about 4.2 ounces, of Philadelphia-style cream cheese and 3 tablespoons of sweetened condensed milk. If you would like to support me, please consider sharing my videos on your social media accounts. It would mean so much to me. I also add 1/2 teaspoon of pure cocoa powder. Now, I cover the cake with the cream. This cake measures 25 centimeters, about 10 inches, in diameter and 10 centimeters, about 4 inches, in height. Using a spatula or a cake scraper, I smooth out the cream over the top and sides. A helpful tip here is to work from the center towards the edges to get an even finish. Then, I refrigerate the cake for about 30 minutes so the cream can set properly. For the chocolate drip, I melt 100 g, about 3.5 ounces, of dark chocolate together with 4 tablespoons of milk. You can use lactose-free or regular whole milk. You can melt the chocolate using a double boiler or microwave it in 30-second intervals, stirring each time until it's completely smooth. Once melted, I add the milk and mix well until the chocolate is creamy and lump-free. A little tip: if the chocolate looks too thick, you can add a teaspoon of milk at a time until it reaches the perfect dripping consistency. Now, I decorate the cake by carefully pouring the melted chocolate over the top and letting it drip naturally down the sides. If you're enjoying my videos, I would be so happy if you subscribed to my channel and left a comment. Your support truly makes all the difference. To finish, I sprinkle some chocolate shavings and decorate using the Wilton 1M piping tip. I also add some Maltesers or similar candy for an extra fun touch. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me in this course. I really hope these recipes and tips help you create beautiful and delicious desserts. Remember, you can find all the ingredients listed in the video description. See you next time. Stay sweet and keep baking with love.